And so what you can expect to learn today is, here are the three-legged stool I was talking about. So number one, a fitting factory partner. So finding a fitting factory partner, finding a factory that is a good fit for you and your product and your brand. Number two, a solid sales and marketing plan. And then number three, a vehicle for selling. So that's the three-legged stool that we're going to be talking about today. That when we see apparel brands succeed, they are fully embracing those three parts of owning an apparel brand. Finding the right factory is going to be very crucial for your brand. There's a lot of things that you need to be looking into when you're looking for a factory. But the number one thing, or the first thing you want to start with, is what does the factory specialize in? What kind of product do they specialize in? If they don't specialize in the type of product that you make, then I would keep moving on, and keep looking for somebody who specializes in the right product. And the reason why is the skills of everyone working there, the skills of the pattern makers, the skills of the designers, the skills of the sewers, the skills of the cutters. Those are all very specific generally to a genre of clothing. So let's say you were making denim jeans. That's a very specific skill, very specific machinery. And let's say you're making t-shirts as well, then you're probably going to end up with two different factories, because very rarely will you have a factory that is good at denim and good at t-shirts, because they're just very different skills. I always liken it to, like, if you were going to build a house and you had to put up some sheetrock and you had to lay some brick, right? You would not ask the guy that was good at sheetrock, putting up sheetrock, to be your masonry and lay your brick, and vice versa. They're two very different skills. So if you think about it in that regard of, like, maybe building a house, or, one guy or gal is good at siding and the other people are good at framing, right? So they're different skills, different specializations. And so you really want to ask, like, what do you specialize in as a factory as far as type of product? So that's one of the first things you want to do. And then once you find the factory that offers the right type of product and has the right type of skills for the category of clothing that you want to make, then you kind of want to move on and ask some more questions. So some of the next questions are they able to work with someone at your experience level? So the way the apparel world works, it's very old school. A lot of factories kind of expect, people that want to produce clothing to have this full grasp and full of understanding of what a pattern is, what a tech pack is, what grade rules are, what different types of knits and wovens there are. And a lot of factories kind of expect people to have that full knowledge. And so then when they work with you, they don't have to teach you anything. And they just are going to say, what's your grade rules? Send them over so we can keep moving. If that's the kind of factory and you are not at that level of experience, because, many people that want to start a clothing line aren't, then they might not be the right factory for you, because they're not going to have the time or the patience or the even processes set up to help guide you through what all that stuff means and how to get that stuff done. So there's, our factory is actually designed to help you through that process. It is the reason I started this factory, is I wanted to help apparel entrepreneurs succeed. Because there are so many factories out there that really just expect you to know that, and they don't want to guide you and that kind of thing. So you really want to ask those questions like, if I'm brand new to the apparel industry, what's your process? What do you have for tools that might help guide me? That kind of thing. And if they're not receptive to those answers, you might want to keep moving on. Also, you can kind of get the feel if they're just kind of a churn and burn kind of facility, like cranking out products again without any guidance or anything, then, and if you're new to the industry, that might not be the right kind of factory for you, because they're not looking out for you necessarily in your product. They just want to pump as much product through the facility, and that's all they're concerned with, if that makes sense. So they might not even be concerned with your quality. They're going to expect you to manage your quality. They're going to expect you to know what kind of stitching you want. And they're going to expect you to understand what kind of trim you want. And again, if you work with us, we really guide you and say, okay, we think this trim might be the best. Here's a couple options. Here's a couple price points that we can work with you on. Let us show you some samples. What do you think? So that's kind of how we work with our clients. So again, you want to find a good factory that's going to work for you. And then some other questions you might want to ask them are, what are their minimum order requirements? So, let's say you find a factory that's making your type of product, and they seem to have, some processes set up to help guide new people. But then let's say their minimums are 2,000 units per style or something like that. And if you're just starting out and you don't have investment backers or something like that, then you might not be ready for that jump to that many units. So again, you want to find somebody that's the right fit for you and your brand as far as their minimum order requirements as well. Some other questions you might want to ask are, what are their labor standards and ethics? I recommend, if you do find a partner you want to work with, that you do make a visit to the facility. It's always nice to see, what the atmosphere feels like and everything like that. So those are just some things. So again, that first major, part of the 3-prong approach is finding a good factory that fits for you. That's going to be the number one step in making sure you're successful. All right, so the prong 2 is a solid sales and marketing plan. I cannot stress this enough. So the first prong of the stool, just come work with us. As long as your category of clothing works with us, we're going to really take care of you. You're going to end up with a product that's awesome. It's going to be made out of the best fabric, best trims. It's going to fit great, all that stuff. And we're going to walk you through that process. But let's say we make the most amazing product that just executes, 100% on what you're looking for, but you haven't thought about how you're going to sell or market the product. Your brand will fail. So we have seen this happen time and time again. And actually in years past, I didn't used to talk about this part of it because Clothier Design Source, we're a factory. We work in product. We're really good at making product and making a great product. And I've always drawn the line in the sand of, we don't help with sales and marketing. That's somebody else's sort of position. We want to just stay in product and be good at product. And that's still essentially who we are. But we want you to be successful, and we want you to sell out of your first order, and we want you to come back and make more with us. And, your success really is our success. So I'm really starting to kind of preach this subject that even though you've got us as your partner making your product, you still need a sales and marketing plan. It's very important. It's not like the old saying, if you build it, they will come. It doesn't work that way. If you build an amazing product and nobody knows about it, they will not come, they will not buy it. So you need to make sure people know about it. And that is by being very aggressive with your sales and marketing plan. One of the things that we ask you when you first come to us is, what is your why? And maybe we don't ask in those exact words, but one of our objectives is we try to find out from you, why are you making this product? What about your product is going to stand you apart from your competition? So if you're making, if you're going to make a jacket, there's this rain jacket hanging behind me. So I'll just say you're going to make a rain jacket. Then one of the main things we're going to ask of you is, what's in your mind, what's different about your rain jacket than the next person's rain jacket? If you're going to sell your rain jacket and it's hanging in REI on a rack and they have multiple rain jackets to pick from, why are they going to choose your rain jacket over the one hanging next to it on the rack? That's how I like to think about it. So maybe they're going to pick your rain jacket because it's insulated, it's more for cold weather. It has some sort of core liner in it that's warming your core or whatever, but you need to have some sort of idea that helps your product stand apart from whatever the competition is. And let's say you don't need to know any of the technical details when you come to us. You don't need to know how it keeps how it's going to be a warmer rain jacket, for instance. You don't need to say it's going to be warmer because I want this certain kind of down core liner in it and I want it to attach and blah, 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 blah. You don't need to know that. If you just say, because I want it to be a warmer rain jacket for cold weather, then we're going to start, that's so much for us to go off of. We're going to start designing and showing you ideas and bringing concepts to you and helping you kind of work through like a bunch of ideas of like how we're going to execute that. But again, knowing your why is so important for us to make the product. It's also really important for your sales and marketing, because then you really have something to talk about. What is standing you apart from the other brands? That's very, very important. If you don't have that figured out, I would honestly say do not start a clothing line yet until you understand what's going to drive sales for your brand versus another brand. And sometimes it's just your branding, like it's your logo, it's your artwork, things like that, and that's okay. Just as long as you understand what's going to be different about yours versus something else. That's what we need to know. All right, so feel free to ask questions again anytime. All right. So some things you can do, from the time you start developing your apparel line, you can start on your sales and marketing. Somebody that we really like to push people to is Jane Hamill. She has a Fashion Brain Academy, which is really great. She has some free resources, and she also has some things that you can sign up for. But I really believe in how she helps people do some early marketing and sales for their brands. And she is product specific. She does specialize in apparel. I think she has some jewelry and accessories in there as well. But in that world, she does talk about that. But one thing that you should start doing is building your tribe right away. I'll just go back to the rain jacket example. So let's say you want to sell rain gear that's warmer. Then you start thinking about, okay, who is that demographic of who I'm going to sell that rain jacket to, and start talking to them early. Start building blogs, building a vlog, building rapport with them. Just start as soon as before your product even exists. But yeah, I would definitely, because like I said, our company does not specialize in the sales and marketing end of it. Check out Jane Hamill if you're looking for some ideas of how to get there. But don't ignore this part of the process, because it is very, 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 very crucial. Because I want to make you a beautiful product, but we really need you to kind of take the reins on selling it and marketing it, or hiring another party to help you with that. And then you also want to be thinking about if you're going to be doing wholesale or retail, or both. And that's something you know, in the sales and marketing end that we talk a little bit about. Okay, so we've got a question from Mario. Says our product is a redesign of the traditional fitness hand wrap. We are in our final design stages. My question is, how would you market a product like ours if our target market is more B2B? Great question. I'm B2B technically as well. You know, I'm a business owner selling to other business owners. So, I mean, you could take actually a tip right from me, and, you know, be thinking about what other things do those businesses need help with? What other things do those businesses think about? And start trying to, maybe you hold webinars like this. Could you let me know who your business is? It like fitness gym owners or things like that? So maybe if it's something like that, you might want to, I don't know, give them workout ideas or things like that. Or a lot of times you might just want to have sales reps, meaning like you literally feet on the pavement, walking around from fitness gym to fitness gym, bringing your product. So your client would be wholesalers to the gyms. So selling to wholesalers is a little bit tougher because then probably where they're buying most of their stuff, well, first of all, that's what I would start asking them. Find the buyer at the wholesaler, get the buyer's contact and ask them, how are you finding out about new product? How do you typically find out about new product? Is it at trade shows? A lot of times there's industry trade shows, so you might want to be setting up a booth at industry trade shows to reach those people. But that's the main thing, is you want to find out some contacts, who are the buyers, and get their names and contact, and then start asking them where they normally find their new products and go there. Otherwise, send them samples, send them a marketing package, send them a video of your product. And then again, you know, maybe hook them into some helpful resources that you can be like, what are their challenges? What do they wish new products would do? Ask them, you know, when they order a new product, what do they wish people did differently? And then start responding to that. Yeah, so that's what I would say, is really kind of digging in and asking your client, which is going to be the buyer, and asking them, how can you make it easier for them? Do they want smaller minimums? Do they want to test it? You could offer to put the product in their shop, and then if it doesn't sell, pull it back, and so then their risk is a lot lower. There's all kinds of things to kind of convince them to give you a try, in essence. And then let's see, what are the thoughts on pre-selling units once your design is finished to have a manufacturing target? That's great. If you look at this slide over here, I actually have think pre-sales, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit. So it sounds like you've chosen wholesale, and you might want to think about, Mario, doing wholesale and retail. You can do both. And in fact, I kind of think that approach might be better, meaning you could have a website where you sell directly to a consumer, and then you also sell wholesale. The only thing is you can never lower your price on your website lower than the gym would have to sell it for. Otherwise, you're going to have some angry wholesalers, or, you know, does that make sense? So like, say you're going to sell your product for $40 to the wholesaler, and the wholesaler has to sell it for $80 to the gym, then you can open a website, put your product on there, and sell it for $80. Just don't put it on sale lower than what that gym has to sell it for. Otherwise, why would people ever buy it from your customers at the gym? Does that make sense? So I think taking that approach might work really well for you, because then you can have this kind of two-tier approach of trying to reach customers. And definitely pre-selling, I think, is great if you have a way to do it. The risk reward there is people have to wait longer for their product. So are they willing to do that? A lot of people are, so that you can gather some sales to create some demand. And that's the most ideal, because then you've gathered some sales, you've gathered some money, and then you can produce. That really is kind of this next line here, what crowdfunding is about. If you can use a Kickstarter or Indiegogo or something like that and put your product up there. And again, you have to market your Kickstarter campaign. You have to have a beautiful video. You have to have really great copy, beautiful lifestyle pictures, talk about the functionality of your hand wrap, the benefits. It just has to be done really well. And if you can do that on like a Kickstarter, that's really pre-selling. You're just getting people that are willing to kick some money in and buy your product before it exists, so you can get enough money to manufacture. So that's another way to do it. But again, just opening a Kickstarter page doesn't magically happen. It's a lot of work and a lot of, you just have to have a really professional looking, well done website that gets the point across. Yeah, of course, Mario. Thanks for the questions. And then think small runs for testing too. So if you have, well, we can do really small runs here. We prefer to do 150 units or so at least per product. And the reason why we say that is then your cost can get down. And then even if you could start with like 300 units per product, your cost really does get a lot more manageable the more we make. But even if you can't do that, even if you're just like, I just want 10 pieces to send them out to these wholesale buyers, we can do that. We absolutely can. Just talk to your design manager about that. The cost per piece is going to be quite a bit more than it would be when you manufacture. But that's okay. Sometimes that's just what you need before you jump right in. And then you can start sending out your samples to maybe these wholesale buyers or these gyms, or however you want to reach your client, and start, maybe influencers, somebody who's got a huge Instagram presence in that field that might wear your hand wrap. Maybe you want to send them some samples and see if they'll feature it on their Instagram or their YouTube or their blog or whatever. So sometimes just getting a small run made, even though it does cost more, is really worth it to kind of get some buzz going out there. All right, so that's the second prong of the stool. So first you find the right factory, then you have to have sales and marketing, and then you need to be thinking about a selling platform. So how are you going to sell? Meaning, how are the transactions going to happen? Will you have a website, or will you have sales reps? For you, Mario, I might suggest both. And maybe you're the sales rep. Maybe you're the one traveling to these wholesalers and showing them the product. Or you have a trade show. You go to a trade show and have a booth. But again, if you're going to sell direct to the consumer as well, then you're going to want to have a good website that sells well. So you just need to be thinking about that as well. And one thing that we recommend, Shopify, most people have heard of it, but Shopify is a really nice platform for clothing and accessories, because not every selling platform out there is able to handle the complexity of apparel, because there's different sizes generally, and there's multiple colors. And so the website needs to be able to handle that whole structure of, okay, I want this rain jacket, but it comes in blue and red, and it comes in sizes extra small and large. And the way Shopify is set up is it makes it easy for you to input that information. And then when the shopper is shopping, they can just have that drop down, as all of us are used to shopping for clothing. You choose the color and then you choose the size. So Shopify is a really nice platform, easy to use, easy to get started for clothing specific type SKUs. It handles size charts as well, which are really important. So, and if you're working with us, we can help you with that. But, if you want to sell size large and a customer wants to buy a size large and they're not sure if your size large fits them right, then having a body measurement chart, and we can help you create that, and then uploading that on your website is really going to help you eliminate returns and unhappy customers, because then they can just measure their chest and waist and then select the right size for them. So it's going to save you a lot of money on returns as well, because that can get very expensive. And then you obviously have lost a client as well. So the selling platform is not to be confused with marketing. You still need to market. It's just more like the vehicle at which you're going to have your transactions. So I want to spend a little bit more time talking about sales reps as well. So if you can find people who are already in contact with your customer, then giving them a percentage of your sales and giving them your product to go and sell your product is a really good move. So I'll just go back again to the rain jacket example. Maybe it's mountain climbers that would like this rain jacket that keeps them warmer, or people that are into hiking and stuff like that. So if you can find somebody who's already in that world talking to that consumer, then having them help you by giving them a cut of your sales or something like that, but having them start presenting your product, then that's a really great way to sell it. That's how a lot of brands cover, the whole United States, is they have sales reps, like somebody might have the Midwest territory, the East Coast territory, West Coast, Pacific Northwest, something like that. You want to have reps eventually all over the country that are, especially for something like you're doing, Mario, where you want to sell wholesale, then somebody's going to be needing to visit those different buyers and be showing them your product, showing them what's new for the next year, or when you come out with new products. But they need to have a relationship with somebody, and a face-to-face relationship is huge with these buyers. When they know somebody's there who's going to take care of them, and going to get them their product in time and going to get them what they want, that really helps a lot. So sales reps are really, really great thing to find. How to find them is a little more difficult, but again, I would just start asking questions like buyers. Who's your sales reps for other products? Do you know anyone who carries a product that might have synergy with this product but not be a competitor? Then maybe they're already selling towels to the gym or to the wholesalers, and so gym towels. So maybe you want to ask them, do you want to add my product onto your offering? And when you go sell the towels, can you also show this hand wrap? So that's kind of how that works. All right. This is just a slide about the mentoring group. So if you're here, you're in the mentoring group, again, every Tuesday at noon. It'll be recorded, so if you miss it, you can always check it out on our Facebook group. So that's kind of all of my prepared content for today. So if any of you are running into any other issues, or if you have problems, just chime in and let me know. I know I saw Latoya out there. Hi, Latoya. No, I've definitely seen your name a lot around here, so welcome. And then Michelle. Michelle's a staple, so good to see you. So if you haven't attended the Apparel Academy, I know some of you have, but this is just kind of a rundown of how it works. It's a one-day event. It's 6 classes, factory tour, networking time. You get your free 30-minute consult, lunch is provided, and we keep the class size pretty low.